To Benjamin Anthony, the CEO of the MirYam Institute, who is joining us from New York City right now. You know, Benjamin, with these talks collapsing over the nuclear issue, do you see this as a moment where diplomacy is effectively going to be running out, or is there still a realistic path forward here, especially given all the mixed rhetoric that we are hearing from President Trump?
Oh, it's good to be with you. Thank you for having me. I want to make a point about these negotiations. Regardless of all of the conspiracy theories that falsely suggest that Israel dragged the United States into this war, the state of Israel and our defense forces and our pilots and our security establishment has really moved heaven and earth in order to be an ally alongside the United States in this campaign against Iran, rightly so. It troubles me greatly that when it comes to negotiations, Israel is again not around the negotiating table. On top of that, it troubles me that these negotiations are taking place in Pakistan, which is obviously a country that is at best is one that has great antipathy towards the state of Israel. And I'll go further. It troubles me that the negotiations have been placed on the lap of the vice president, from whom I'm yet to see any unequivocal statement of support for the state of Israel, and even an unequivocal condemnation of growing anti-Semitism in the United States of America. So it seems to me that we're back in a situation, unfortunately, where Israel is asked to, alongside the United States, do all that it can in order to bring about an end to a global threat. But then ultimately the future of the region is negotiated by everyone other than the state of Israel. We saw this prior to the JCPOA in 2015. I'm troubled that we're seeing something similar happen again.
Jim, and I want to talk about some of the comments, or you could say the words that Trump used in this latest post regarding the negotiations in terms of Iran's leadership. He at first called Iran's leadership volatile, difficult, unpredictable people. And then in the next sentence, he said that his three negotiators became, not surprisingly, very friendly and respectful of Iran's representatives. That includes Mohammed Bagher Ghalibaf, who we know is even more hardline than Khamenei, the supreme leader who was taken out by the U.S. and Israelis. What do you make of this, and what does this mean in terms of the potential for a regime change in Iran, which we, of course, also know that U.S. President Donald Trump had been touting was going to take place? He essentially said that he was coming in to rescue Iranians following protests.
So from the beginning of this, I've been saying that there were certain goals of this war that were very virtuous and attainable. One, bringing about an end to Iran's nuclear weapons pursuit. Two, bringing about an end to their ballistic missile threat, both the manufacture and the deployment and firing capabilities. And three, bringing about an end to their proxies, especially those that are mounted on our borders, such as Hezbollah inside Lebanon, but by no means exclusively so. I was very skeptical about the notion that we could trigger at the time of our choosing the complete and utter displacement of this regime, particularly when the war was being limited to aerial strikes, generally speaking. And I also was against the idea that the state of Israel should take upon its shoulders the notion that we're going to liberate another people. I am not of the camp that thinks that we ought to be in the business of doing that. So when we talk about the president's tweets, I think that he's facing a challenge. It's not an insurmountable challenge, but his playbook of confusion has been learned and studied by his opponents, and they understand now what to pay attention to, what not to, where they can gain ground despite his public statements and where they cannot. And that's why I believe that you're seeing that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff and, of course, J.D. Vance, while they've gone over there to Pakistan to negotiate in what I assume is in good faith, the gambits aren't working. That's one reason. They've been studied and learned. And the other reason is you're now, of course, dealing with a state actor, Iran, as opposed to non-state actors where there were great successes, such as the release of the 20 living hostages from Hamas's captivity. And also, we've seen some end to a negotiation with the non-state actor Hezbollah previously that brought about a ceasefire that I said at the time, again, I felt was ill-fated because it didn't bring about Israel's red lines, not the least of which was the need for a security buffer inside southern Lebanon. You know, when we evacuated all of our people from northern Israel in the aftermath of October 7th, we essentially created a security buffer inside northern Israel, right? That was a no-go zone for many, many months, free of Israeli civilians. That should never have been the case, in my view. Now we are fighting Hezbollah, to nobody's surprise, because we need that buffer zone that was touted throughout all of the negotiations post-October 7th, but never came about. So all of these ceasefire talks have to be durable and grounded in reality, and they will not come about by way of these volatile, I would say, tweets from President Trump.
All right, Benjamin, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be turning now to Israel's northern front as Israeli and Lebanese